Hey everyone! Today we are going to learn how to make texture sweater bear drawings. So we're going to learn how to draw a bear and dress him all up in a sweater. What you're going to need for today's project is a piece of paper. I have mine turned horizontally or long ways, but you could have yours tall ways. You're also going to need either a pencil or a black marker or crayon. This is for drawing your bear. You're also going to need a skinny black marker or a black pen. It's up to you, whatever you have available. We're going to use this smaller art supply to add texture to our bear, and you'll also need something to color with. I have some markers. So let's get started drawing our bear. Now, like I said, I have my paper turned horizontal. And I'm going to just jump right in with my black marker, but if you feel more confident using a pencil first and then tracing over with a marker, that is totally fine with me. So we're going to get started by drawing an oval or a circle shape in the middle of our paper. Mine is not perfect. That's okay. Just do your best to make it as symmetrical or the same on all sides as you can. Next, we are drawing two little eyes. So that circle we just drew, or that oval we just drew, is the snout of the bear. And these are its two eyes. And I'm trying to make them the same shape and spaced evenly. Next, I'm going to think about my bear's nose. My bear's nose will be inside of that circle or in the snout area. And my nose is going to be kind of like a heart shape. Your nose could be a heart shape, it could be a triangle, a circle, a square. It's up to you what kind of nose you want to give your bear. Next, I'm drawing a line down from my shape, for my nose, and two little fishhook lines out for his smile. You could also add a little tongue if you want. Maybe your bear is sticking his tongue out being silly. Alright, next we are going to start drawing the outside of our bear. So our bear's head. So with my magic finger, I'm tracing around my bear's face and then going in with my marker when I am ready. It almost looks like a rounded square for my bear's head. Maybe your bear's head is more of an oval shape or is more round. Totally up to you guys and girls. Okay, it's time to draw our bear's body. So I'm using my finger to practice first, and I'm kind of making a diagonal line and then a curved line down. Watch me. Diagonal line and curved down. It's a very gentle diagonal. You could also make your bear's body go straight down, but this gives your bear some more form. It makes it look like your bear has shoulders and arms. What's missing? Oh yes, our bear can't hear us. Hello. So we need to draw some bear ears. I used half circle shapes for my bear's ears, and I'm drawing smaller half circles on the inside of the ears so that it defines the inner part from the outer part of the ear. Here's our bear. Next, I think we need to give our bear a sweater so that he stays nice and warm. So what I'm going to do with my finger is practice a curved line underneath my bear's snout and then draw it with my marker. I want to make sure that this line is curved and not straight to really show that my bear's neck is round. Okay, next, let's think about his poor head. He must be cold without a hat. So I'm going to add a hat by drawing two little curved lines up next to my bear's ears, and then using a curved line to connect the top of those two little lines that I just drew. That is the brim of my bear's hat. Now, let's think about the top shape. You could do a triangle shape, you could draw a round shape, or sort of an organic triangle, maybe a curvy triangle shape. I think that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm just going to draw my curvy triangle shape here like that, and then maybe even a puffball at the end of my bear's hat. Just like that. Okay, let's talk about texture. I'm using my skinny black marker. You could use your black pen if you have it. It's up to you which one you want to use, but we need a thinner art supply so we can add some detailed texture to our bear. Remember, texture is the way that something feels or looks as though it may feel. So I'm going to use my skinny mini black marker to add some hair texture to my bear. I'm going to make sure to start at my bear's neck. I'm not adding texture to the sweater. You can see that I'm drawing these little straight lines out from my bear's face, and that gives us the look like our bear has all of these fuzzy wuzzy hairs on his face. So once I get to my bear's ear, I'm just going to turn my paper and continue going around his ear with these straight little lines. Now when I get to my bear's hat, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to draw those texture lines on the top of my bear's head because his hat is covering up those hair textures. So I'm just going to continue on the other side here. Now you'll notice that I'm crossing a few of my hairs. You don't have to have all of your bears straight out. Maybe your bear has a little bit of a messy hair day. That's totally up to you. So after I've drawn my hair texture all the way around my bear's face, I am going to start adding some of that hair texture to the outer part of my bear's ear. And we're also going to add some hairy looking texture all throughout my bear's face, except for the snout and the inner part of the ears. We're not going to draw any hairy texture in those areas. So I'm going to get started now drawing my hairy texture, just using those straight little lines, and I'm working in rows. Again, we're leaving that little circular part in the middle of the ears blank and empty because that part doesn't have hair on it. Okay. Now let's talk about our bear's face. Our bear's face is nice and hairy, so I'm going to get started adding some texture. Again, I'm using those straight little dashes, those straight little lines, and I'm working in rows. So I'm starting at the top of my bear's head, and then I'm moving down and drawing those same lines underneath my first row. I'm going to continue doing this all over my bear's face. Now this is pretty tedious, but it will pay off. Our bear will have a nice fuzzy face. I just want to talk to you real quick about our bear's snout. Remember, we're leaving that part blank without any texture. So when I get to my bear's snout, I'm going to stop and continue my hair textures on the other side of it. You'll see me do this in the next row of hair. Starting on one side of the snout, stopping once I get to the snout, and continuing on the other side. I'm just finishing up my texture here, and there we have it. Look at all of that beautiful hairy texture on our bear. Looks so awesome. Okay, so let's talk about that sweater. I'm going to add some patterns to my bear's sweater. So I'm going to do different rows of patterns. You could do one pattern all over your bear sweater if you'd like, or you can do rows of patterns like me. For my different rows, those stripes on my bear sweater, I am using curved lines. Again, I'm following that same shape of the collar or top part of my bear sweater. Okay, I've created different sections for my patterns. Now I'm going to use some colorful markers to add some patterns and colors to my bear sweater. I'm not going to color in my bear's face. I'm just going to color in the sweater as well as the hat. So here we go. Oh, first I've got to color in my bear's nose. I'm going to do that with black. And now it's time to add some patterns. Remember, patterns are repeating shapes, lines, or images. So your pattern can be unique. If you are doing one big pattern all over your bear sweater, you can do that, or you can do different patterns like I'm doing. Now that I've finished drawing my patterns with my marker, I'm going to go in with some crayon and color in behind my marker. You don't have to do this, boys and girls. If you just have markers, crayons, or colored pencils at home, you can use what you have. I just so happen to have both crayons and markers today. Now please make sure that you are coloring neatly. I am trying to do so, and I know it looks like I'm coloring like a super fast robot person, but trust me, I am taking my time, trying to stay in all of my lines and do a nice job. Okay, time to add some color to my bear's hat. I'm also going to add a pattern to my bear's hat. You don't have to, but you can if you want. I think it adds kind of an interesting look to your hat if you decide to add pattern. So I'm drawing these little target patterns, and I'm also drawing these vertical lines on the rim of my bear's hat to make it look like it is a knitted hat. Now I am carefully coloring in with crayon behind my circles that I drew, or my target symbols. I'm pressing really hard with my crayon for that background and then really lightly coloring in on my target symbols. That way I have different values of blue, a darker value of blue in the background and a lighter value of blue on my symbols. Okay, I'm finishing coloring in my bear, and there we have it. Our bear has so much texture and so many patterns. I think we need a background though. So let's get started with adding a background. Now you could draw stars, snowflakes, trees, a house. You could draw whatever you want behind your bear. I'm going to go with snowflakes. So I'm drawing my snowflakes by drawing the letter X and then drawing a plus sign or a vertical and horizontal line through them. If you have a different way of drawing snowflakes, feel free to do so. Or, again, you don't have to draw snowflakes. Maybe your bear is indoors. Maybe your bear is, I don't know, in space. It's totally up to you, boys and girls. I want you to be creative. So I'm adding some different values of blue for my snowflakes to add variety to my artwork. There we go. A completed bear with lots of texture on his face and a warm sweater and hat. Boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed this art lesson. I can't wait to see your warm and fuzzy sweater texture bears. Have fun!